The Central Asian Report is a program about the ongoing geopolitical trends and the panorama of the present-day realities in Central Asia.
Politics, economics and culture, events, trends and people of Central Asia. This is the Central Asian Report. Hello and welcome. Watching today's program. New demographic trends, Central Asia on the verge of great transformation. Yerevan Astana, convergence trajectory. The strengths of the fair sex, women in the power structures of Tajikistan. Through the thorns to stability, young families in Kyrgyzstan. New year in a new home, affordable housing in Kazakhstan. The world community became concerned about such issues as the decline of the institution of family, social inequality and unstable demographic processes. To a greater or lesser degree, all of these trends can be observed in the countries of Central Asia. The territory of Central Asia is home to more than 67 million people. The most populous country in the region is Uzbekistan. Annual population growth rate in this country is 1.5%. More than 60% of the population are able-bodied people. Both figures meet demographic standards, and considering the overall economic situation in the country, they look quite optimistic. Meanwhile, the outflow of able-bodied people from Uzbekistan has reached 3 million people per year, resulting in increased demographic load. Kyrgyzstan faces the same predicament. The primary cause of the demographic imbalance in the country is the migration of young people aged 27 to 30 years. This is the most fertile age. More children are born to parents at this age. This is a major cause of the population growth in our country. 3 record-high figures were recorded in Tajikistan: the highest number of births, the highest population growth and the lowest median age, a little less than 23 years. The predominance of rural residents is also observed. It can lead to a shortage of land resources. We are experiencing a serious agrarian overpopulation. The urbanization level is low due to weak urban development. It cannot accommodate the rural population from local villages. The demographic situation in Turkmenistan is difficult to assess. Most of the information is unavailable to the public. We only know that the country has a population of 6,800,000 people. Over the years of independence, the figure has increased by 40%. In Kazakhstan, experts point out the modern type of reproduction of the population. Among the predominant trends are increased life expectancy, delayed marriage and low birth rate. The country also has the highest in Central Asia median age, more than 29 years. Considering Kazakhstan's successful economic development, favorable living conditions and sufficient resources, the figure looks rather bleak. No economy can be planned without taking into account human and operating resources. You know that single-child families will soon become a serious problem in China. 1 billion people, and yet they will soon experience a shortage of manpower. Experts predict that in a few years the overall demographic situation in Central Asia could become one of the main catalysts of interregional integration. All 5 republics have to work together to solve issues such as reduction of reproductive health care and uneven distribution of the population. A consistent demographic policy will allow the Central Asian countries to fully implement their national strategies and accelerate economic growth in the entire region. Any integration association is essentially a club whose members share the same interests. It is a group of like-minded individuals, a partnership. The alliance of nations can also be called a family, whose capabilities are strengthened and expanded with the arrival of new members. In any case, this is how the members of the Eurasian Economic Union interpret Armenia's decision to join the alliance. The embassy of Kazakhstan in Armenia was opened in 2007. Since then, the diplomatic corps of the Central Asian Republic have celebrated Independence Day every year. But in 2014, the holiday proved to be extra special. The embassy met with their future partners in the Eurasian Economic Union, the Armenian delegation.
Ուրախ եմ ձեզ ողջունել Ղազախստանի Հանրապետության անկախության օրվա կապակցությամբ
A live performance of the national anthems, a welcome speech made in the Armenian language by the ambassador of Kazakhstan, demonstrated a new format of relations between the two states. The economic contacts are expected to become even closer in 2015. We act not only bilaterally, but also multilaterally, by working in various international organizations, such as the CIS, the Collective Security Treaty Organization, and today we can also mention the Eurasian Economic Union. The new economic space opens massive opportunities for its participants in terms of economic modernization and increased competitiveness in the global market. In this regard, the experience of Kazakhstan, which is ranked 50th in the list of the world's most developed countries, is regarded as unique by the Armenian side. I want to wish Kazakhstan all the best in their constructive work. May the state continue to be a life-giving example of what it means to be a creative force. Creating an optimal transport communication system, building joint metallurgical plants, opening enterprises that produce innovative products, cooperating in the field of tourism. These are some of the intergovernmental initiatives that were announced on the Kazakhstani holiday in Armenia. The parties have once again confirmed that the time has come for the Asian states to give their long-time partnership a new impetus and move to action. Hundreds of activities were held all over the world in support of women. Women continue to play a major role in the preservation of the family and take on more responsibilities every year. This trend is observed in Tajikistan, where the fair sex is swiftly taking over traditionally male jobs. In recent years, the gender palette and the power structures of Tajikistan has undergone swift and drastic changes. In 2014, the number of female employees in the Ministry of Internal Affairs has doubled. Ladies are already replacing their male colleagues in the most critical areas of work. Only the keepers of the hearth are capable of settling conflicts so gently and build perfect partnerships. Therefore, we have recently commissioned women to conclude serious agreements with our counterparts from China, Germany, and Afghanistan. This is a new trend in the domestic policy conducted by the Ministry of Internal Affairs to promote women in difficult areas such as criminal investigation and forensics. There are many technologies that can help the investigation. However, a qualified specialist can never be replaced, not even by the most sophisticated device. There are many other requirements for a modern law enforcement officer. One of the most important ones is physical fitness, regardless of the gender. Women train every bit as strenuously as men. If you work in the police, you must understand that you will not succeed without good health and stamina. Experts associate the increased popularity of the police-related professions with a number of social factors. This year, the wages of the Ministry of Internal Affairs employees has risen by 40%. The package of social benefits was also significantly expanded. Perhaps this is the main message for the ladies who have decided to work on an equal footing with men, change the way society views the fair sex, and prove that women's movement in Tajikistan is gaining momentum. Experts predict that in 2015 the number of marriages will decrease in many countries. Kyrgyzstan is no exception. Our correspondent in Bishkek reports on the factors that have caused such pessimistic forecasts for the country's future. 40% of the population, a little over 2 million people, this is the number of young people in Kyrgyzstan. According to preliminary estimates, in the coming years they will conclude no less than 500,000 marriages. However, this forecast is considered unrealistic. The number of people who are unwilling to be bound by marital ties continues to grow. Even in rural areas where the institution of family is stronger, young people are eager to delay marriage, primarily because they find themselves incapable of supporting a family. The unemployment rate in the rural areas and remote villages is very high. Newly married couples end up dependent on their retired parents. Young people find themselves discouraged by the current situation. Some are leaving the country in search of work. Others are trying to start their own business at home. There are many institutions opening across the country for young couples to learn about financial literacy. We have set up a youth house in each district. This is where young families can discover new opportunities for themselves. Most young families associate economic stability and solid prospects with having a roof over their heads and receiving social support for newly born children. State program for the construction of social housing for young people is developing at a slow pace, while state payments for new mothers and infants leave much to be desired. In the meantime, young families of Kyrgyzstan can only hope that the situation will improve in 2015. A home is more than just a place where we live. It is also a place where our interaction with the world begins. This is where we dream and make plans for the future. For a large family, a new home marks the beginning of a new life. For Mavzuna and Serikzhol Kenzhebayev, residents of Almaty, Kazakhstan, New Year's celebration coincided with another family holiday. The couple will start the year 2015 in a new apartment, which they received as part of the state program Affordable Housing 2020. One of the project's segments is called rental housing. Thanks to this program, the couple was presented with the opportunity to lease a well-appointed apartment with the option to purchase. When our turn came, we got a two-bedroom apartment in the Algabas micro-district. It is spacious and bright, with a good layout. There is a school and a kindergarten in this neighborhood. The streets are good and the courtyards are comfortable. The rental housing program works for the residents of large cities. Over the past few years, there have been an increasing number of requests to conduct similar projects in the rural areas, where more than 40% of the country's population reside. Comfortable homes should be built in the villages as well. Villagers also need such housing programs. According to statistics, in Kazakhstan, 1 out of 3 divorces is caused by housing-related problems. Many young families fall apart due to their inability to purchase a home of their own. Therefore, the affordable housing program is a good opportunity for the development of the institution of family. If young families have their own home and normal living conditions, they will be just fine. And there is a greater chance of them having more children. It can result in the population growth in Kazakhstan. By 2020, it is planned to build at least 3 million square meters of rental housing, approximately 50,000 apartments. This means that in the next 5 years, at least 10,000 Kazakhstani families will start the new year in a new apartment. That is all for today. You have been watching the Central Asian Report. See you in our next program on Kazakh TV.